in the heart of the Murim world, where the wind carried whispers of ancient martial arts and tradition was law. A young man named Kael lived a life of disciplined simplicity. His days were a rhythm of sweat and steel, training under the watchful eye of his uncle, the revered Master Jin. Every strike, every stance, every breath was a step toward mastery, a legacy passed down through generations. Master Jin wasn't just his mentor, he was his family, the only one Kael had ever truly known. His world was small, but rich. It was filled with the familiar scent of the dojo, the crisp mountain air, and the easy laughter he shared with his best friend, Takeru. Takeru was more than a friend. He was a brother, a rival, a constant presence in Kael's life. They pushed each other, dreamed together of becoming the greatest martial artists the Murim had ever seen, and promised to always have each other's back. Life was predictable. It was challenging, but it was good. Kael felt a sense of belonging, a purpose forged in the fires of his training. But the tranquil rhythm of his existence was about to be shattered, broken by a silence more deafening than any kaya he had ever uttered. One fateful evening, the familiar scent of the dojo was replaced by the cold, metallic smell of tragedy. Master Jin was gone, struck down by an unknown assailant. The pillar of Kael's world had crumbled, leaving behind a void of grief and unanswered questions, and in the chaotic aftermath, another blow struck Kael's heart. Takeru had vanished. No note, no trace, no explanation, just an empty space where his best friend used to be. The two cornerstones of his life, his uncle and his friend, were gone in an instant. Pain was a current pulling Kael under, a suffocating mix of sorrow and rage. The simple, fulfilling life he knew was now a haunting memory. Who would do this? Why? And where was Takeru? Was he a victim, or was he somehow involved? The uncertainty was a poison, seeping into every thought. Kael's grief hardened into a singular, burning resolve. He would find answers. He would find Takeru and bring his uncle's killer to justice, no matter the cost. His personal quest for mastery was now a desperate hunt for truth. His search began within the sacred walls of his own sect. Kael scoured ancient scrolls, interrogated elders, and chased down every rumor and whisper that echoed through the halls of the temple. He was looking for anything out of the ordinary, any clue that might point to the darkness that had consumed his world. His relentless digging led him to a forgotten passage in an old text, a passage that spoke of a hidden artifact, a source of immense power tucked away deep within the temple's most secluded chamber. An ancient, mysterious stone, driven by a desperate hope. Kael found the hidden chamber. It was a place untouched by time, dust motes dancing in the single beam of light that pierced the gloom. And there, on a stone pedestal, it rested. The stone was unlike anything he had ever seen. It was dark, yet it seemed to drink the light, with intricate carvings that pulsed with a faint, almost imperceptible energy. It felt ancient, powerful, and strangely, alive. Was this connected to his uncle's death? To Takeru's disappearance? With a trembling hand, guided by an instinct he couldn't explain, Kael reached out and touched its cool, smooth surface. The moment his fingers made contact, the world exploded into an incandescent, blinding white light. The energy wasn't just around him. It was inside him, tearing through his very being, a roaring torrent that overwhelmed his senses. The familiar stone walls of the temple dissolved into the searing brilliance. He felt a sensation of being pulled, stretched, and reformed all at once. The sound was a deafening roar that swallowed his own cry of shock. And then, as suddenly as it began, it was over. The light faded, and silence returned. But Kael was no longer in the quiet, dusty chamber. He was sprawled on rough cobblestone, the air thick with unfamiliar smells, strange spices, roasting meat, and something else, something magical. Towering buildings of impossible architecture loomed over him, and the sky was a different shade of blue, dotted with two suns. People in bizarre armor and flowing robes hurried past, their ears pointed, their skin in hues he'd never imagined. He saw a man with a glowing staff conjure a ball of fire in his palm, and a hulking, beast-like creature pulling a cart. This wasn't the Murim. This wasn't his world. Panic began to set in. He staggered to his feet, his Murim robes marking him as a complete outsider. People stared, pointing and whispering in a language that sounded like gibberish to his ears. He saw signs for guilds and warnings about dungeon gates. Adventurers, clad in gleaming steel and carrying impossibly large swords, strode through the streets with an air of confidence. A snarling, goblin-like creature scurried out of an alley, only to be blasted by a bolt of lightning from a passing woman in a pointed hat. Kael's mind, trained to understand the logical flow of ki and the precise art of combat, reeled in the face of this chaotic, magical reality. He stumbled through the bewildering city, dodging strange beasts and even stranger people, his mind screaming in confusion. The physical and mental shock was too much. The world swam before his eyes, and he collapsed. His last conscious thought, a single, desperate question. Where am I? He awoke to the soft comfort of a bed and the gentle scent of herbs. His head throbbed, but the sharp edges of his panic had dulled. A young woman with kind eyes and elven ears was tending to him, offering him a bowl of warm broth. She was part of a group of adventurers who had found him passed out in the street. They couldn't understand his language, but they saw he was in trouble and, with the simple kindness of strangers, took him in. They nursed him back to health, communicating through gestures and patient repetition. Slowly, Kael began to piece together his new reality. He was in Eridoria, a world of fantasy, magic, and monsters. As his body healed, he made a startling discovery. While practicing his martial arts forms in the quiet of the adventurer's guild yard, he focused his ki, just as Master Jin had taught him. He expected the familiar flow of internal energy. But, this time, something new happened. As he channeled his ki into a palm strike, a visible wave of force, tinged with a faint blue light, shot from his hand and shattered a training dummy 20 feet away. It was more than just ki. It was his martial arts, amplified, somehow infused with the magical energy of this new world. He was still a Murim warrior, but in Eridoria, his skills manifested in ways he'd never thought possible. But the most profound revelation was yet to come. One night, while meditating deeply, trying to connect with the ki of his homeland, he felt that familiar, violent pull. The world dissolved into light once more, and when it faded, he was standing back in the dusty, hidden chamber of the Murim temple. He was home. He could travel between worlds. The stone wasn't a one-way portal. It was a bridge. He could go back to Eridoria, then return to Murim. The realization hit him like a lightning strike. This wasn't a curse. This was a gift. A new vow formed in his heart, forged from the ashes of his grief and the fire of this impossible discovery. He was no longer just Kael, the martial artist from Murim. He was something more, a traveler between worlds. He could gain power in Eridoria, learn its magic, and bring it back to the Murim. He could use the skills of his homeland, enhanced by this new reality, to become stronger than ever before. He would use this incredible power for one purpose, to hunt down the truth. He would find Takeru, wherever he may be. He would avenge Master Jin, and he would uncover the secret of the ancient stone that had turned his entire universe upside down. Kael's journey had just begun, a path that would span not one world, but two. Thank you so much for watching the first episode of our new series. We're so excited to take you on this journey with Kael. If you enjoyed it and want to see what happens next, please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and ring the bell so you don't miss a single step of this interdimensional adventure. We'll see you in the next episode.